Like that's where we have to look at everything we say has to hit all generations, all people, male, female, right? Like the joy of the Lord is my strength. What is joy? It's not physical. That's just weird. I'm sorry.
Well, and also we don't know for certain he lifted it by himself. But even if he did, that's not the point. You actually have a theory about the men Jesus chose because he did choose a lot of what we would call blue-collar men. Not all of them. Matthew was a tax collector. We have no reason to believe a guy doing math all day and counting money was like super strong.
Right. Could have been, but probably not.
But all the fishermen, there's a lot of fishermen.
Those guys were all probably...
They're tough.
Yeah. Tough, strong, sailor mouths, right?
Right.
So, I mean, we have to be careful because if we're going to incorporate some of these things, like we also have to go there. Well, does it mean that you have a sailor mouth is that what a manly, godly man is? No. Right? So we can't say just the physical, but this is my theory, right? Is that I believe that Jesus chose most of the 12 were that manly type that we're talking about, right? I believe he did that to show what true transformation could be. That to be a transformed man of God is not this physical toughness. It's spiritually and at the soul level. Like, do you know how to love well? Like, that's what God calls us to do as men. Ephesians 5, we're called to love as Christ loves the church. Well, that's sacrificial. And then you go to 1 Corinthians 13. There's 8 what not to do, and there's 7 how to love. Like, we have to really incorporate that into our lives. That is, I believe, that's part of manhood, right? And then you go to Colossians 3. Like, Colossians 3 is probably one of my favorite passages in all of the New Testament of how to live the Christ life. And you don't see anything in there about being physically tough or strong or anything like that. So Jesus is taking, 10 or 11 of the 12 who are these manly men, and he's teaching them how to love the way that he loves. And I'm not saying it's weak or anything like that. It's just a different way to live. And it's a spiritual strength that we're talking about. It's not a physical, you have to punch people in the mouth to be a man.
But culturally speaking, throughout all time, it's a counterintuitive, countercultural way to live.
Absolutely it is.
Because it runs contrary to what a lot of societies have defined as toughness and manhood.
For sure. And we don't want to take away from, like, is it okay to be physically tough? Absolutely.
I mean, look at Ron. He's tough.
We're not saying it's not.
He's a man.
You shouldn't do that. We're just saying it's not necessarily, that is not what is included in what Jesus calls biblical manhood.
I get frustrated by this because I thought we'd gotten past it, but I'm learning it's getting worse.
It's getting stronger, and I believe it's because it's fear.
Fear of what?
Of all the other things in the world creeping into us as the church.
But we're not supposed to let those things influence us at all. We're supposed to be in it, but not of it.
Right.
And so if the world's blurring lines of gender, we should still live as men that Jesus called us to be.
Yeah, but if your son is 5 years old and you're worried about the world swaying him, you're going to go maybe further one direction to sway him into this so he doesn't go there. Whatever those things are.
Okay,
right?
So Lauren, you have a 3.5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hoping Eddie will be a little bit more gruff and tough because of gender lines being blurred?
No.
Aren't you worried?
No, I'm not worried.
Why not? You should. Somebody listening would go, you should be. The way schools are today, the way society is today, you should be worried about your son and his knowing he's a man.
Well, Eddie is a man, and he's a godly man, and he follows Christ, and so is my father-in-law, and so is my dad. And so with those people as my son's examples, I'm not worried.
Yeah, and see, what was my favorite part of the whole weekend at Walkworthy, Pastor, you probably saw this because you watched the whole thing. And we didn't plan this out. In fact, Daria probably should have gotten annoyed with me because she thought I was going to do one thing, and then I just went a totally different direction. So,
I'm used to it by this point.
Yeah, well, yeah, hello. And so I think one of the first questions I asked you all is, I was going to talk about what manhood is, but I said, how would you describe your husbands, right? As men?
Mm-hmm.
Do either of you remember what you said? Because I put you right on the spot. You had no preparation for this.
Yeah, I think I said Something along the lines of he's kind and he's patient. He leads our family well, but that doesn't mean that he's overbearing or domineering. He values my opinion, and he takes consideration of my opinion and my thoughts in decision making.
That sounds like 1 Corinthians 13 to me.
And this is what I said. Like in the moment, I didn't know what they were going to say. I was like, "Do you know you just quoted scripture? I don't think you know that because you were in your. What were you doing in your mind? Just picturing Eddie?
Yeah.
Now, and you said something similar about Jimmy, right?
Yeah, I think I said he puts me first. My needs are one of the most important things to him, but he's really open to the leading of the Holy Spirit. Specifically, in our 3 years of marriage, we've moved twice across the country, and that was ultimately his decision because he felt that that's where God was leading us.
But it was for your career.
It was. Twice.
And again, it's like, do you know you were quoting scripture about? Because as much as some men may be uncomfortable with that, I felt led in that moment to go, men, if your wives were sitting up here, how would they describe you? Would it sound like they're quoting scripture? It's supposed to. Makes me admire Eddie and Jimmy greatly because I'm not certain Sarah would say exactly that. She'd probably add, and he's a little annoying sometimes, and he's difficult to live with, and he doesn't pick up after himself. Like she'd, I don't.
But also, we're in front of 1,200 men. We're not going to disparage our husbands in front of 1,200 men.
Yeah, I mean, we could say the exact same things if we're slightly annoyed with our spouses because spouses annoy each other. I'm sure Jimmy could say a few things about me that I wouldn't want made public.
But you guys didn't lie about who they are, and what you
No.
described was a biblical description of a man in Jesus' time from his perspective.
I mean, yesterday, so my sister's coming this weekend. We have 2 children. We both work full time. Our house is just a terrifying place, okay?
It's beautiful. You keep it. I don't know how you do it, but I understand what you're saying. Just all the things happening.
Yeah, all things happening. There's stuff everywhere. It's just toys from every place just somehow always end up in the living room. Okay. I don't have time right now because I'm working and then I come home and I'm taking my son to school and then I come home and take care of a 5-month-old who really doesn't want to be put down right now. He just wants me to hold him constantly. That's how babies are. It's fine. But that leaves me no room to do house things, laundry, clean the kitchen, change the sheets. Eddie did, I think, 6 loads of laundry yesterday. He cleaned the kitchen. He changed our sheets. He got everything ready for us to have guests this weekend.
So he did the women's work then?
Yeah, because I couldn't. And I thanked him. I said, hey, thanks so much for doing all the stuff around the house today. It's been really hard to find time because Ellis doesn't want me to put him down. And he said, it's the least I can do. I'm not able to care and feed for our child like you can.
Don't you wish? It's like, Eddie.
Beautiful.
I wish I would have been that good at
example.
that. I have had to grow into that. He clearly has had a good example.
How
in
old
his
is
life.
Eddie?
35.
Man.
Bro, when I was 35.
I think I may have been fighting a little bit or, maybe making excuses.
Right?
Right? Yeah, that's awesome. Eddie's awesome.
And yet, this is just, I know a lot of Christian men, because they're striving for this caricature of what it's supposed to be like, they'd be worried about Eddie and Jimmy.
Should it be?
No.
They both play video games too, by the way.
Yep.
And they like it. They play board games.
Jimmy's a very happy person. He likes his life.
Yeah.
I think, if we were to look at Paul definitely ordered, whether he participated in the killing of people, we don't know that for a fact, but we can maybe make a guess about that. But
he held the codes.
He
held the codes. He watched it happen.
At least.
He was the authority in the room, so he ordered it, right? But I would say that, there was a pretty dramatic transformation that when he comes to Jesus, and you look in the book of Acts, what he's doing was a total transformation of who he used to be. I mean, he ends up letting people beat him almost to the point of death. They thought he was dead in Acts 13. I mean, that's a tremendous transformation, and he didn't try to out-tough people at that point. He out-loved them. That's what he was trying to do, is out-love people, show the love of Jesus to people.
So why can't we teach that as manhood?
Because we don't do discipleship well. We don't say, hey, I want you to learn how to just be with Jesus. And then I want you to, when you just spend time with Jesus and you do it more and more and more throughout your day, then you start to become like Jesus, and then you start to do as Jesus did. We don't do that. We have a really hard time doing that, and I think it's part of the world, right? We're so fast, our phones, everything, trying to be successful, trying to have the bigger house, all those things. It prevents us from just. When was the last time you just sat in your living room on the chair without the kids running around and you had a cup of coffee and you just tried to just get 30 seconds of true Jesus moments?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to do that.
And so what we do then is we find some awkward guy or some dude on the internet that's going to try to tell us what the Bible says about manhood, and he's lying to us, and we believe it.
Right.
Because he quotes a Bible verse.
Right.
It's 7:49. It's time for a quick break. When we come back from this break, we'll continue chatting about this because one of the more controversial questions I would say we got, and I'm just going to lay it on the table for us to all think about. Somebody texted in during Walk Worthy and said, how can we as men, how can men be more submissive to our wives? We'll talk about the question itself and whether we even should answer it in just a minute.
Moody Radio is thankful for support from listeners and businesses like Deerfield Ag Services. They help in adaptation of new technologies and techniques of farm and business management. More information about Deerfield Ag and how they can help is at deerfieldagservices.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
Attention all high school students and parents. We invite you to visit Moody's campus in the heart of downtown Chicago, in person or virtually. Experience life as a Moody student by scheduling an individual visit to campus with your family. We are excited to welcome you to learn more about whether Moody is right for you and your student. Meet with an admissions counselor and sit in on class in person or through Zoom. Schedule your campus visit today at moody.edu/experience-moody.
Pour another cup of coffee and settle in for engaging, Christ-centered conversations. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
7:51, again, Share coming up on Tuesday. We need your financial support. We're a listener-supported ministry. Text Share to get your gift in today to 440-546-2255. Sharon gave just like 15 minutes ago from Akron, so thanks, Sharon. Be like Sharon and give. Be like Sharon and give to Share.
Sharon
See what I did
shared.
there? Sharon shared. I like it.
Shared.
All right, so text Share to 440-546-2255 or call 800-600-9624. We have Pastor Scott Lessing in with us from Grace Church in Middleburg Heights, their prison campus at Lorraine Correctional. And we're talking about something we brought up at Walk Worthy that received a ton of response. We're also talking about something that happens to be an area of passion for Pastor Scott and for me. I'm frustrated. I feel like absolutely society is blowing it and talking about what manhood is. Anything from blurring the lines of gender to Jeff Epstein and Henry Weinstein, all those disgusting creatures, you know what I mean? And so the church then, of course, is blowing it too, I think, in a lot of ways. They're just blowing it. Because what it means to be a man after Christ and following Jesus, I don't think it resembles in any way the caricature we begin to create of some sort of like tough guy who's splitting wood and stuff. Now, it can be that, but that's not what it's about to be a follower of Christ. Being a follower of Christ is about your inner character. It's not about your physique. It's about how your character and your attitude come out. And so somebody asked a controversial question, I think. It's not to me, but I think it's a great question to ask because it's so edgy. Somebody texted us during the event and said, how can we be more submissive to our wives? I can hear a bunch of people like screeching their tires. Like, wait, what? Women are supposed to submit. Ephesians 5, buddy. Why would you ask that ridiculous question?
Because you got to keep reading Ephesians 5.
Pastor, are you worried about submitting to Maureen, your wife?
Not at all. I submit to her often.
Whoa, buddy. You got to be a man.
That is being a man.
Don't you tell her, woman, submit. Gosh, that felt so gross.
I have never
I'm sorry, Mo.
ever said that. I no.
Speaking of that,
It's not
side note,
biblical.
we had somebody text in that, Lauren, can we go over that real quick? I just want to cover this. When you were talking about Eddie and he was cleaning, I said, oh, he's doing the woman's work, right?
Mm-hmm.
This person thought I was serious?
Yeah, they thought you're serious. You were just emphasizing the point of a stereotypical housework is the woman's job, and you were emphasizing Eddie was serving me and serving our family by doing something that isn't stereotypically a man's job.
Yeah, I was just being silly and sarcastic. I would just ask you to extend benefit of the doubt. That'd be horrible if I actually... How would I have a job in radio if I talked like that?
Right.
So our senior pastor, Jonathan Schaefer, he says it like this: assume positive intent unless proven otherwise.
Yes.
So you've never proven that we should otherwise think that was nothing but you were joking around.
Yeah,
right?
and I was trying to emphasize a point, but whatever. Yeah, I guess sarcasm font is not a thing in radio.
Well, if Lauren and I thought he was serious, we would have gone after him. We would not have let a comment like that fly.
Yeah,
I would have gone for the jugular.
Yeah, we did not hire dainty little flowers here.
No.
Although you're both lovely.
Thank you.
And you smell floral.
I
I guess that's not true. Sorry.
I smell like coconuts.
All right. So, Pastor, you submit
Yes.
to your wife.
I do,
Why would you do that?
because she's really good at finances and I'm not.
Oh, that's so good.
So I submit to that. Like so in the first year of our
but
marriage,
it's biblical, though.
I thought that my grandfather did the finances, so I thought the man's supposed to do the finances. So I did the finances for the first year and went into debt because I would forget to pay the credit card, and then I would overdraw our account, and then you get all those like
Fees.
every time you overdraw back in the day, this is 23 years ago, every time you would overdraw your account, they would mail you. And so one day we got like a stack of like 10 or 12 letters from the bank. You overdrew again, you overdrew again, you overdrew again. So guess what? Mo's really good at it. So Mo tells me what to do. Hey, we're getting close. Don't spend anything the rest of the week. Okay. What am I going to say? No.
I'm the man. Get
You're
your
lying,
hands off the
woman.
mail.
No, like, come on.
I defy reality of what's in the bank
Yeah,
account.
come on. Come on, fellas.
But I think we so poorly quote Ephesians 5. People, their favorite part of it, men, I should say, is wives submit to your husbands.
Right.
And period. But that is so ripping out of context what that entire chapter is saying.
Right.
And it ignores the part where men are told to submit.
Well, it was fascinating to me when I was the men's pastor, all the men wanted to talk about what their wife should do. And I would always say, but what are you to do?
Worry about yourself.
Are
man.
you loving your wife
Lauren is
sacrificially the
done
way that
today.
Jesus did? And I would always ask this question, and guys did not like this, but I would say, when was the last time? So I would say that first, and then I would say, when was the last time you submitted to your wife? And the looks. I mean, like, I was like not a pastor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They were about to punch you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you questioning my manhood? Why would I submit to some
Right.
woman?
Well,
Again, sarcasm font.
Right. Sarcasm font. I had I mean, so it's really important, I think, that we take the whole chapter into context and not just a section. I mean, if you look at Ephesians 5, I mean, if we really want to call men to something, I mean, it's not just verses 25 and to the end of the chapter, which is that we're to love our wives as Jesus loved the church, sacrificially to death. Wow. And we have to remember that at the end it says this is a mystery, right? And so everything we're talking about is mysterious. But chapter 5, verse 1, be imitators of God. Oh, boy, that's a tough one. In everything I do, imitate God? How did Jesus treat the women of the day? He honored them, right? So, and you keep going. Live a life of love, just as Christ loved us. That's in the very beginning. And then, and then if you just go to verse 15, be careful then how you live. Be careful how you live. Like every word you say, be thoughtful of what you do and say. Wow. not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Do you know how many opportunities we squander because just of our words? And how we, in our actions and our body language, how we upset people or hurt people just by that alone. You've squandered an opportunity to love well because of your pride or other things. So make the most of every opportunity. Therefore, don't be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. The Lord's will is to seek and save the lost, right? That we're filled with the Holy Spirit. And that's what he goes on to say. Don't get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Spirit. And that means an abundance, overflowing with the Holy Spirit. There's a lot to learn here. And I go back to this. We have to practice the ways of Jesus. We don't practice the ways of Jesus.
No, we don't. We create a caricature and we quote flipping tables. That's
right.
what we do.
And instead, like, if you're an artist, like, you have to practice time and like over and over and over and over again on this piece of artwork that you're doing, right? Or if you're an athlete, the same thing, or a poet or whatever, like, you're practicing to make it as good as you can make it, right? We don't do that as Christians. We don't do that as followers of the way. We have to practice the ways of Jesus. And it takes time. It takes effort. It means that I was wrong yesterday. I didn't do that well. Brian, how do you spend time with Jesus? When was the last time somebody asked you that?
Oh, apart from being in a spiritual formation program, never.
Right. What's interesting is every time I'm here with you guys, which I love being here, you guys are amazing. I'm honored that you guys invite people like us in. But
Lauren.
What was funny, and I don't mean to be critical. I'm.
You can be critical.
But I'm going to be critical with what I'm about to say. So
Good.
Bring it on.
We have a lot of people, a lot of the text messages that I see or the emails that I see are people telling what you should do instead of asking how I should be. Brian, you should do this. Instead of saying, Brian, how do we do that? It's almost like they're always trying to fight and tell you guys that you're wrong. Not everybody. You guys get some encouraging words, but I would love for us as the body of Christ to have a posture of learning and asking so that we can then practice better. Like that's what Jesus calls us to do instead of fight because I'm right.
Yeah. In fact, he didn't fight. He gave himself up.
Right.
And while he was being tortured to death, he asked the Lord to forgive people who were his enemies.
Right.
I mean, the way of being a man after the heart of Christ is so unlike any cultural definition of manhood that it makes people want to know who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like when in the passage in Salt and Light, I quote it all the time. People misinterpret that like you're pouring salt in a wound. No. When you read the whole thing about being salt and light, it finishes with Jesus saying, go therefore and make your good works so shine out that the world will see your Father. Like the way you are and the things you're doing are so unlike everybody else and so like Jesus that people are compelled to know more. We don't live like that. I don't live like that.
I had somebody text me during this time. Can I read it?
Please.
So this is Don. Don, if you're listening, thanks for texting because he's one of my friends that goes out to Lorraine with us.
Oh, good.
And Don is this big dude.
Uh-oh.
He loves guns. I hope that's okay. I said that, Don. Sorry. I just realized maybe.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. But I mean, like he is the definition of toughness, right? And this is what he says. He says, 1 Corinthians 16, 13, and 14 says that Paul encourages us to act like men. But this is what he says. The word used is adrazomai, and it's only used once in the Bible, and it means to be strong not physically, but in character and in love. We're called to act like men, and in that verse, he's talking specifically to a group of guys, but it means in your character and in the way that you love, to be strong in that. So to be strong, to have a lot in the tank, right? That we should have a lot in the tank in regards to loving people the way that Jesus did, and that we should have godly character. And the only way we grow our godly character is through perseverance. So let people attack you. You're going to be attacked for the way that you live your life.
That's right.
Right? And when you persevere through that, your godly character grows. The fruit of the Spirit in you grows and you see Jesus. But we have to spend time with Jesus to become like him.
And there's people who will not like the way that men are supposed to be in Scripture.
Oh, for sure.
So we're left with a choice. Go your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Do your own thing. Or dare to do something that makes you uncomfortable and conform your life to Christ. In a way where your wife would be willing to get up in front of a crowd of 1,200 men and describe you in a way that is Christ-like, as Lauren and Daria did to their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a moment, without any preparation. That makes me think pretty deeply.
Mm.
I mean, and just what Eddie did this yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Goodness sakes. It's the least I can do. You're taking care of our baby and feeding him. I can't do any of that. I can do the laundry and make the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure glad I'm older than Eddie. So my wife's not hearing that going, see? It's 8:04, time for a quick break. We got Ron's news. We got today's More Ron moment and more Follow-Up Friday coming up. What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The State of the Union is strong and getting stronger. It's 8:05. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. That's what President Biden declared in his third State of the Union address last night as he laid out his vision for the nation as he heads into another general election campaign. The president opened his speech warning of the threats to democracy both at home and abroad, citing the war in Ukraine and January 6th rioters. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the new owner of an historic temple. The Community of Christ Temple in Kirtland, Ohio, was the first to be completed after the church's founding in 1830. Joseph Smith dedicated that in 1836. And results of a just-released study show progressive field among the top 10 Major League Baseball parks for concessions. OntarioBets.com looked at all 30 MLB parks with 4 key metrics: concessions per square foot, concessions per stadium capacity, the price of a beer, and the price of a hot dog. The home of the Cleveland Guardians came in at 8th place in those rankings. Sports and weather in just a moment.
The Adventures of Captain Radio, the listener's best friend.
Captain Radio! I've been on a desperate search for a way my family can listen to Moody Radio. They don't live near a Moody station.
I have 3 solutions, ma'am.
Do tell.
Your family can listen with either a smart speaker, the free Moody Radio app, or online at moodyradio.org.
Captain Radio!
You're standing on my cape.
Sorry.
Join us for more Adventures with Captain Radio.
In sports, the Blue Jackets greased the Oilers 4-2. The Capitals shut out the Penguins 6-0. And the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports the Steelers are planning to meet with Russell Wilson before free agency begins next week. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Cloudy with a chance of rain this afternoon. Highs in the lower 60s. At last check, cloudy skies, 49 degrees now in Cleveland. Clear and 46 in the Akron-Canton area. Clear skies in Youngstown as well, where it's 42 degrees.
It's time for your moron moment.
Daylight saving time begins on March 10th, and everyone is encouraged to test their smoke alarms as they turn their clocks forward to make sure those devices are working as well. In the month of February alone, local Red Cross volunteers responded to help more than 270 people in the northern Ohio region affected by more than 80 home fires. A working smoke detector buys your family precious time to get to safety. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:08. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Devine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland.
812 WCRF, Mornings with Brian. And it's a follow-up Friday. We got Pastor Scott Lessing with us, prison campus pastor from Grace Church in Middleburg Heights.
Hey.
Always good to have you here, brother.
It's great being here.
We got Ron, we got Lauren, we got Daria. It's a follow-up Friday. What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255. I've been wound up about manhood for a while, so we got to talk about something else. 440-546-2255. You can call or text with those topics that you would like to discuss.
Yeah, if you want to change the subject, what do you want to talk about?
We talked about a variety of topics this week. In fact, we haven't done this yet, so let's review some of the things we talked about. Monday, we really just did a lot of...
We had a lot of guests this week.
We had a lot of guests, and we had John Palmer come and talk about
people loved that
plant stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went and trimmed my grapevines after he came in.
Yeah, but we can't do follow-up on that because we don't know anything, and John's not
That
here.
cat is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, you texted me. You were like...
I love that
I know,
guy.
he's the best.
He's the best.
He is amazing.
He's kind of, what does he call himself? Like the crabby arborist or something?
Yeah.
Cranky arborist.
The cranky, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so funny.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Do you think he knows, Ron, that he's funny?
I think he's trying to be funny, but like he doesn't depend on it.
Yeah.
He's a very
if you
dry
laugh,
humor.
it's great.
He's genuinely irritated that none of us have any idea what we're doing with plants.
And that's funny.
And it's funny. And he's right.
I almost emailed him because I was absolutely wrong about what type of tree is in my backyard. I went home and asked Eddie, and I was like, oh, whoops. Not
were
a
wrong?
maple. Oh, yeah. It's a locust tree.
Oh.
That sounds biblical.
Well, it's
But
my
it
house,
drops
huh?
stuff?
Yeah, like really tiny little leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Really annoying.
We don't know what we're doing, do we?
No.
All right. We also had Pastor Scott with us talking about Walk Worthy and how that went in the prison. That was fantastic. We talked about the persecuted church. Tuesday, we talked about Gen Z lingo. We learned some new ones. Like Pastor Scott is baby girl.
No. Don't even go there. Do not. I was listening when you were doing that.
It's a compliment.
Who was it
It's
to?
a compliment
Who
to
was
Rob
it to?
Finn.
Well, who was
Rob
it?
Finn, our social security guy.
Yeah. Oh, he was so offended.
Rob Finn is baby girl.
But it's not our fault. He doesn't like the label, but it's
So
a
listen,
compliment.
you've already labeled somebody baby girl. It can't be me.
Okay,
You've
then-
already given it to him.
No,
You're
it's
the
like...
Riz
It's not
King.
an exclusive nickname.
Yeah, you don't get one person doesn't get it.
Nope.
Scott, you can be Riz King.
I'll be Riz King. That's cool.
But see, it sounds tough.
What's that?
It sounds tough. That's why.
No. I know what it means.
What does it mean?
Charisma, man.
Well, yeah, but it sounds tougher than baby girl, which is why you take offense at baby girl.
Dude, I am a pastor in the prison. You cannot call me baby girl. No way. I rebuke you. No.
We're in
Maureen
correctional,
was here-
guys. You have a new nickname.
Well, and I mean, they may not know some of the hip new lingo.
Baby girl is a new hip lingo, as Brian would say. And it's basically you're an attractive, intelligent, cute guy.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
It's like
Listen,
Big Sean is baby girl.
Dude, don't no. I'm shutting this down, man. No way.
Okay.
No.
Okay, he's not. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, he's not. There were other ones too. What was the other? Yeah, it was Riz King.
Riz King.
Or Rizlard. It's about.
Rizzler.
It's charisma.
That's right.
Yeah.
Charisma, which you do have that.
Rob Fenn texted him this morning and
I'm
he
okay
said,
with Riz.
Eddie is baby girl. Just kidding. He's responsible.
But you would call Eddie
Oh,
baby
yeah.
girl.
Eddie is baby girl. Absolutely.
And he wouldn't care because he's a young millennial. So he's like, he
He'd be like,
understands
"Oh."
it's a compliment.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, okay.
If you
You're
call
weird.
a boomer that or an Xer, we're going
Right.
to punch you.
Yeah.
It won't hurt if it's me,
Obviously.
but I'll punch you.
It won't hurt if it's me.
Yeah, it won't.
Pastor Scott's getting riled up about baby girl.
Oh,
No,
you
Eddie
crack
is
me
baby
up.
girl.
So is Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy is baby girl.
I'll have to call him that and see how he reacts.
Eddie would probably
Nice.
be like, why are you so weird? He'd probably call me a loser.
Ron is the Riz King,
Yes.
Thank you.
which is a compliment. Gen Z people listening right now are so embarrassed
Ron
for
is
us.
also baby girl. You can be both.
Can I be daddy?
No.
No.
Nope.
Oh.
We're not. No.
Yeah, definitely not
He
daddy.
said, "Aw."
You don't. Yeah, not daddy.
So also, why are Christians afraid to fight? It was a question at Walk Worthy. People were like,
Yeah, we talked about that this
why are
week.
Christians afraid to fight? I had guys come up to me afterwards who were upset. They were like, they did not like how we talked about the culture war and how Christians ought to respond to it and the idea that we may have lost it. And maybe you want to talk about that. Gen Z is shoplifting. We talked about Gen Z a lot this week. Did you know that half of them are stealing stuff at self-checkout on purpose, Pastor?
Really?
Yes. Because they want to stick it to the man is their thing. They're like, these
Yeah.
big corporations, they're greedy.
For sure.
I'm going to show them. Guys, it's still stealing.
It's stealing.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Self-checkout's the worst.
But do you think there's a lot of people that resonate with that? Like wanting to stick it to the man?
We talked about that. Because there is a measure in which the sentiment shouldn't be ignored. The sentiment of it is, have we reached a point in American society where capitalism has begun to be so uncontrolled that we have, because if you look at it, and this somebody's going to get so mad at me for this, the way I may not have said that perfectly, but what I'm trying to indicate is that when you look at the statistics, it used to be that the middle class controlled the majority of the wealth in this country.
Right.
And now the vast majority of the wealth is held by 1% of people in the country. And so you have an increasing gap between the super wealthy and everyone else. And then when in that group, between those who are making it and those who are not. And so there's an element in which Gen Z is, and Darius talked about this, has grown up in the midst of economic turmoil. And they're like, there's something wrong here. And they're also hearing Xers and boomers, not Ron and me, but some Xers and boomers looking at them going, the problem is you just don't work hard enough, you lazy bum.
Right.
And they're like, well, wait, no, we are working hard. It's different today. No, it's not.
There are different breeds of Gen Zers. Like the ones that are working hard are probably not the ones that are stealing. But there is a group of us that just refuse to grow up. They're in there, and it's harder to launch nowadays. But there are some that are sitting at home. They still live with their parents, and they don't have a job, and they don't have any motivation to do anything. So believe me, I understand. If you're sitting at home, you've got a job, and you're trying, you still live with your parents, not talking to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's 8:19. I think I almost missed a break here, Ron. We got to take a break.
Okay.
I got wound up again.
Yeah, that happens.
It's just me today. And watch, Sarah will be like, he comes home and takes a nap. What's going on? But by the way, we also did speak about the Alabama case. Alabama Supreme Court, State Supreme Court, ruled that extrauterine children are children. And that sent the world into a tailspin, the country into a tailspin about in vitro fertilization. And so we had a pretty intense discussion, difficult discussion about that. Maybe you want to talk about it again. Dr. Gersovich was here talking about Disability Awareness Month. We did so much. There's even more to talk about because there was a Christian nightclub that Pastor Scott might go in there and throw it down. I don't know.
I heard about that, man. I'm not a dancer, so I don't like to dance.
But you're a slow dancer.
Absolutely.
Or so is Ron. I mean, like the three of us.
Yeah, for sure.
If it was a power ballad night at some dance hall,
we'd be there.
Oh, yeah.
My wife wouldn't sit
the
down.
Whole night.
Yeah. It'd be like, lady, just get comfortable in shoes because we're going to dance all night. I'm going to sway to the music. On the beat, by the way. I can do that.
Yeah.
Not all white guys can do that, but I can.
This?
Yeah. And when you're in middle school, it's hands on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Or her hips. And she has...
Yeah.
There's a lot of space. Leave room for the Holy Spirit, they say. But, but you sway. You don't look at each other.
Right.
And you're like, yeah. Okay, we got that down. 8:20, time for a quick break. What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255.
Kayla was in a panic when she called CareNet's pregnancy decision line. When she asked about her choices, we explained all of her options. Kayla said, "But I'm already at an abortion clinic. I'm in their bathroom." Our pregnancy decision line coach asked Kayla what she wanted to do. She said, "I want to leave." Kayla left the abortion clinic and we connected her with one of CareNet's life-affirming pregnancy centers where she could get free services and learn more about her pregnancy and her options. What you need to know is that the federal government is working on plans to fund a national abortion hotline using your tax dollars to refer women to abortion providers. The government's hotline won't tell women about all of their choices. It will be a referral line for one choice, abortion. We need you to join thousands of others who are pro-life and sign the CareNet Pledge to stand against the National Abortion Hotline. Sign the pledge now at care-net.org. That's care-net.org.
You can listen to nonstop Christian music anytime, anywhere, through your phone or mobile device.
Signal processing.
Imagine some of your favorite Christian songs being streamed for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just go to where you get your apps and download the free Moody Radio app. Open up the app, select the Praise and Worship channel, and start listening to your favorite Christian music right here, right now. It's the Praise and Worship channel from Moody Radio.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
8:22. Pastor Scott Lessing in studio. Love it when he's here. And somebody just said that they love you. You're the best.
What else did they say?
Yeah,
They
you
said,
should read
"Hi,
it.
Pastor Scott, you're the best."
No. Like at the very end about Big Sean.
Yeah.
Even if Big Sean had to come to your rescue.
I just love
I
that
had
story.
to be rescued, man. I looked so weak. Oh my gosh, carrying that box across the yard.
Welcome to every day of my life, brother.
Can we give a
Although
shout
there's
out just to the guys at Lorraine?
Yeah, please do.
And to the warden and the chaplain. I mean, we have so many guys that are becoming listeners more and more and more every week. So
Really?
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to tone down the talk about my Cabbage Patch doll.
Uh-oh.
Those guys didn't like that.
Joseph hammered you for that.
Yeah, he did. Sorry.
Yeah.
My parents bought it for me, Joe. It's not my fault.
It is. Yeah.
I shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry.
No. I am so glad you did.
I bet you are.
You keep saying I should not talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about it some more.
You know, it's just I'm a man who loves Jesus, Daria, and I believe in truth. So I can't help. I'm like George Washington. I can't tell a lie.
Yeah. Some things you don't have to tell.
Yeah, it's
unless
not,
you're asked. But I don't know any other guy in my life who had a Cabbage Patch doll except for you.
See, that can't be true.
How many of your friends had Cabbage Patch dolls?
Probably all of them.
No,
I'm guessing.
not probably. Do you remember any?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like some dude's going to come to my aid on text, but it was a thing in that when those were huge. They made boy ones for boys.
Okay.
Have we researched this? Have you guys double checked that this is a truth?
I also, by the way, had Garbage Pail Kids, which were very boy.
Yeah, that for sure.
And I laughed really hard at my Garbage Pail Kid.
I think that was the
collector cards.
boy version of the Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So you didn't have.
I had both.
Okay. All right.
So a negative times a negative is a positive. It's math, Scott. It's neutral. Actually,
I was
it's
not
neutral.
good at math. See, I'm not the finance person.
Lauren's really Googling Cabbage Patch Kids.
There's
Why
all
did
the
I-
boys.
There is little boys, right?
There's lots of them.
Of course there is.
Lots of little boy Cabbage Patch dolls. A Santa one. That's nice.
But that's today. We need to know, did they have boy Cabbage Patch dolls in 1975?
I think
79.
That's mine right there.
Vintage 1980s Cabbage Patch doll boy.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
All right.
And Brian was born in 79, so he would have been about 4 or 5 years old when that came out.
Real men snuggle their babies, and they can practice when they're little boys with dolls.
Yes.
You're right, Brian. I'm wrong.
I'm not going to bring that up in the prison, but it's too
We have a
late for
text.
that.
I think
What?
you just
Oh.
did.
I never thought I would have to admit that I also had a Cabbage Patch Kid, but I will today. I got to stick it with Mommy and Brian.
Yes.
Steve.
Thank you, Steve. It was a thing.
That's good, Steve. I'm really
It
glad.
was
we
a
needed
thing.
to rescue Brian.
You know what it is Pastor Scott probably was crying in his bedroom by himself because he didn't get one for
I wanted
Christmas.
one.
All my other friends have one.
I love when you do impersonation voices. I just love it. Well, that's a double. I love when you do impersonations.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's fun.
I'm actually best at impersonations of people that don't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the British.
And the British. That's right.
That's not true.
Yeah. Should I do my best, Lauren?
Yes.
Hey guys, it's me, Lauren.
That is not Lauren.
I'm from Chicago. My husband's Eddie. Get to work, Eddie. I'm holding our baby. No?
No. This is an audio medium. Everyone knows that I don't sound like that.
What was that, me or you just now?
Oh.
440-546-2255. Oh, we got another gift for Cher. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. It's Eric in Cleveland. Eric, thank you for your gift.
Thank you, Eric.
We're at 20.49% of our goal. We want to get to 25. 25% of our
By
goal.
Tuesday.
By Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
Whoa, okay, here we go. Lauren, don't withhold the truth from Pastor Scott.
Hi, they absolutely did have boy Cabbage Patch Kids in the 80s. I had one, and so did my brother. He
All
had
right.
a boy Cabbage Patch Kid.
See?
So baby girl Brian is okay.
Baby girl Brian.
Boom! And hey, guys listening at Lorraine, take that.
Okay.
Maybe you guys should start asking for dolls, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So when
don't
you
do that.
come
That was
when you
weird.
come back next time,
Oh, no.
Bring your dolls.
Will you bring your Cabbage Patch? That's
I don't
the question.
still have it, Scott.
I'll bet your mom has it in the attic.
Shh.
Can I have your mom's phone number?
No.
I just want to talk to
My
her.
parents don't have an attic, Daria.
She does comment on Facebook. You could message her.
That's right, I could. She always comments about Cody.
And she loves her grand donkey. She says it all the time. Anybody else got my back here, Lauren?
Just those two.
Well.
Oh, we did get a caller. Says she loves your Cabbage Patch. I'll be proud of it.
See? It's fine. You're fine.
Yeah, that's good. I did that just to get you support, Brian. That's all I did.
Oh, this was reverse psychology
Yes,
on your
I was
part,
just trying
Pastor?
to get people to
Okay.
call in to support you.
I'm still going to, I'm going to like take a long time before I go back and visit Lorraine. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
But when
Yes.
when I go, you and I are walking across the yard, and I've got a real big box for you to carry. And that's going to
a
distract
long walk.
everybody. Oh, it's a very long
It's
walk.
a very long walk.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Someone just said, what did they say?
Brian ate and left no crumbs.
What does that mean, Ron? I don't know what that means.
It's a very good thing. If you eat, like your outfit you were eating means, oh, you look very good.
Nothing like having a boomer
The
describe Gen
extreme
Z.
beyond that
To a
is
Gen Z, yeah.
ate no crumbs is like extreme, looked very good.
Well, thank you for explaining that to me, Boomer.
It means you did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, when I actually eat, there's always crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Or banana peel in your beard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that happened?
No way. Really?
I spent a whole segment with a piece of banana in my beard, and these people I work with let it happen.
After. We told you after.
You just
to
wanted.
be fair, to be fair, you have you can.
It was before
It was
the
before video.
Oh, it
the
was
video.
before
I
the
think.
video.
And what I was going to say, like, we're talking about something like, oh, excuse me, can you wait and stop talking? You have banana in your beard.
We didn't want to embarrass you, and then you talked
That's
about
what
it
I
on
would
the
do.
air when we were trying to be discreet.
You'd have
no
my
one
back
else
on the
knew
air.
except
For sure.
three of us.
My little brother had a baby Cab Patch boy while I had a couple. My parents still have them.
Do you feel better?
Wow.
I sense like you're feeling a lot more comfortable about your manhood.
Oh, I was never uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm a man, Pastor Scott.
All right.
A man that takes naps and lives a sedentary lifestyle.
Jesus took naps.
He totally did.
Yeah.
Was it you I told that? That rocked their world? No, I was talking to Pastor Cisco Cotto. He's a professor at Moody. And I brought it up. He's like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, dude, he was sleeping so good in that nap that he didn't even notice the storm.
Right.
He just started laughing.
He brought a pillow. He was expecting to nap.
He brought up, I actually regularly travel with a pillow in my car
Really?
in case I need to take a serious nap in my car.
Like, where would you like sleep in the back
No, but I keep the pillow in the back, but I'll lean back.
and like just snuggle up against the pillow like it's a Cabbage Patch doll?
Duh, they have a really hard head. They wouldn't be comfortable, Scott. 440-546-2255. Time for a quick break. Got to shift gears somehow out of this one. We'll get there in just a minute.
What is it that you want to pass on to your kids? Your ethics, your values, your faith? If I could do it all over again, Christian leaders share the most important lessons of their lives. Colin Smith is a pastor and author, also the teacher on the radio program Unlocking the Bible. As he looks back at life, he sees major themes emerging, like currents from a river.
I think in terms of a life principle, the thing that has most deeply run as a current in my life is where Paul says, when I am weak, then I am strong. And it took me some time to understand what he meant by that, because Paul was clearly psychologically, spiritually, physiologically, even from his sufferings, one of the strongest people who ever lived. But I think what happened in his life was that God gave him an overwhelming task, and that he was pushed out beyond his comfort zone, and that at that point he experienced his own, what he calls weakness, the sense of, I can only do this by dependence upon God. And I would want to pass that on to my grandchildren for sure. Don't try and live within your comfort zone. Don't try and live within what you feel you can do.
Certainly sounds like biblical counsel. But what do we do with our sense of uneasiness, bound to creep in, once we choose to actually cast everything on the Lord?
Allow the Lord to push you out. Follow him when he calls you out into the deep. Because in his mercy and in his grace, he'll push you to a place where you no longer feel confident, and then you will experience what Paul calls weakness, and then his power will rest on you. and then blessing will flow in other ways. So that's been the story of my life in lots of different ways, and I'd want to pass that on to others.
This has been a production of Moody Radio, a ministry of Moody Bible Institute, based on the book, If I Could Do It All Over Again.
Another Walkworthy has come and gone, and
it was absolutely awesome.
More than 1,200 men joined together in Canton and online to be encouraged and challenged.
I just love the messages that were brought out and how profound they were. Also with the music.
It was an event that inspired, and that will be remembered.
That moment that I've been wanting them to experience, when that came true, it was one of the most amazing things.
Thank you for your support of Walkworthy. Brought to you by your family at Moody Radio Cleveland.
No matter your age or season of life, there's always something more to learn and skills to gain. Moody & Rich is Moody Bible Institute's new lifelong learning venue. The focus is on personal enrichment and professional development through video courses and e-courses, starting at just $14.99. You'll gain life-changing understanding of Scripture and expand your ministry and professional skills. Explore the courses that may be of help and interest to you. Go to moody.edu/enrich. moody.edu/enrich.
Moody Radio is thankful for support from listeners and businesses like Deerfield Ag Services. They help in adaptation of new technologies and techniques of farm and business management. More information about Deerfield Ag and how they can help is at deerfieldagservices.com.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
8:33, your place to talk about today's issues from a biblical perspective. And here Ron describe the latest definitions of slang and lingo. From
no cap.
440-546-2255. Pastor Scott Lessing with us as well.
Hey.
We had a call from somebody who is not a hip young person.
Well, I would debate that.
Maybe she is. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well,
that was a bad transition.
Well, she says she turned 75 on Sunday, so
okay.
Happy early birthday to this person. She's listened since Bob Divine, so thank you for being so faithful throughout the years. But she says, I'm paraphrasing, she loves the show because, she loves all of us. She enjoys it, and she thinks it helps keep her more in touch with the younger crowd, and that the older generations are too hard on them. So I really appreciate that.
At the same moment you were taking that call, we had a 16-year-old texting with Lauren. And I'm not making this up.
No.
So would you like to share what they said?
Hold on.
Well, it's a lot.
You guys wrongly using this lingo is hilarious. And then, hold on. When he's the one that said Brian ate and left no crumbs. Or I don't know if it's they. I'm 16 and you guys totally misused the lingo. And I said, we're trying.
It's one of those scary things where, especially when you hit 30, Lauren, you suddenly realize you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you're still like 18.
I feel like I hit that when I was 20.
Really?
Really. The whole Gen Z, whatever lingo, I'm like, I can't keep up with it. This person's only 10 years younger than me, but I feel ancient right now.
I kept up until about 6 months ago, and then I felt out of touch.
I was at it.
Oh, jeez. I've been working here a year, Brian. That's wrong.
That's wrong?
Yeah, that's wrong.
Oh, and one thing, we kept forgetting to share this. The most wonderful experience. Speaking of, somebody brought up Bob Divine. I can't miss the opportunity to share what happened the other day. Now, we're in the woods in Brecksville is where the radio station is. Okay? And
truly,
we have a doorbell. It usually only rings for two reasons. Either the UPS guy showed up or somebody's arrived at the station to record Pause for Prayer. But you usually kind of know when those doorbell things are going to happen. Now, I'm a pretty, keep it quiet kind of guy. So sometimes when the doorbell rings, I kind of run and hide because I don't know what's going on. What do you mean, yes? That fast? I duck down. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? And in this case, doorbell rings. Lauren and I were back with Daria in the conference room in the back of the radio station. And then we hear, loud talking and a female voice I did not recognize.
And it's an older female voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard our station manager all fired up, and I was scared. I was like, Lauren, what's happening? Do you remember me? I was like,
who is that? Who could that be?
What's going on
we
up
had
there?
Kelly Ryder on a video call with us, and she's like, let me know who that is.
So
the person walks down the hall.
Oh,
no, go ahead.
I answered the door.
You answered the door.
And
okay.
there's this old lady and a older gentleman standing there, and I don't know who this is, and so she introduces herself. Josh comes in, he's all excited, and then so I take him back to the conference room. And who was it, Brian?
And I was kind of sliding my chair away from the hallway to not be seen because I'm scared. And I look up, and it's Wanda Devine, Bob Devine's widow, and her son. And she just dropped by the radio station. And I haven't seen Ron. You were emailing with her on a regular basis.
Yeah, about once a month I keep up. But yeah, physically I have not seen her since. Was it the time we all went down there to her house?
It's been a couple of
invited
years
us for tea and cookies or something.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
And those of you who are familiar with Bob and Wanda was an integral part of the radio station.
Oh, yeah.
And did a ton of the research for Bob for Nature Corner and his morning show and all that. And she's hilarious and she's spunky. She just had a hip replacement a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
If we would have had a race, she would have won. She came running down the hall. And what a joy to have her come and say hello and spend some time with her. Because, I remember when Kathleen and I had a cake for our 1 year on the air, and it was simultaneously exciting and embarrassing because Bob was on the air for 40 years. And Wanda would be like, that's cute. Look at you. You made it. But she was just so warm and welcoming. I was so grateful that Lauren and Daria got a chance to meet someone who's such an integral part of this radio station, its history. So how's Wanda doing? Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's how she's doing.
Yeah, she said after hip surgery, like the physical therapist would come to her house, and after a week, they're like, well, you don't need us.
And she also said something really sweet about her Bob, who's been gone since, Ron, when did he pass?
11 years ago, she said.
11 years ago. She said, you never get over it.
Yeah.
She loved him so much. Those two and their marriage.
Yeah.
The more they talk about it, it's just one of the, it's like, relationship goals for me is what that is. Just powerful. And I am so grateful that you two got a chance to meet her. And I'm just keep praying for Wanda. She's just doing so great. If you don't know, let me explain it to you. If you're newer to the radio station, this radio station launched in 1958. Yes, it did. In fact, it was you wouldn't believe this because some of you don't even know that AM radio is a thing. Okay, but a group of Christians got together, formed the Christian Radio Fellowship. They want to have Christian radio on this in Northeast Ohio. They gather the money, and they're like, all right, now what we have to do is go to the Federal Communications Commission and just get a frequency and get going. Hello, Federal Communications Commission, it's us, the Christian Radio Fellowship. How you doing? I'm sorry, we're full.
Yeah.
Like the AM dial in Northeast Ohio, full. No spots left. Which is, it's hard to even picture that's a thing that can happen, but it is. So they're like, well, great, what are we going to do now? We could do this newfangled contraption, FM. Nobody was on FM at the time in 1958.
That'll never take off.
Yeah, there was like one station.
Really?
Yeah, and so they're like, I guess we'll do that then. Well, okay. And it was such a strange thing at the time that they actually purchased, as part of the promotion for the launch of the radio station, pre-tuned radios. Because if you would have said, hey, everybody who's not listening to FM, tune to this radio station. I mean, people didn't know how to do it.
Right.
Some didn't even own FM radios.
Wow.
And it turns out it was like God doing his thing to go, no, you're going to be just cutting edge instead. You're not going to mean to, but you're going to be cutting edge and you're going to be on the FM dial. And here we've been all these years, 103.3 in this Cleveland area and a bunch of other frequencies now.
Wow.
And Bob Devine was on the radio hosting the morning show from 1960 to 2000. That's unheard of.
That's amazing. How many changes did he see in the world?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we also reminisced with Wanda about how, I don't know the year, but there was I think it was the Beacon Journal, decided they would do a contest.
Yeah.
Just with their readers. Who's your favorite radio personality? Bob didn't even know the contest was happening. And I mean, there's some legendary radio stations here in Northeast Ohio. Rock and roll was coined here.
Right.
The phrase rock and roll by Alan Freed was done here in Northeast Ohio. And guess who won? Bob Devine. And like the people at the papers were like, I'm sorry, who?
Yeah.
Bob didn't know the contest was happening. And the listeners here.
The Akron Beacon Journal ran the contest, the Main Mouth contest, they called it.
The Main Mouth. And he won.
Yeah.
much to everyone's surprise. And did you know, Wanda told us this, when Bob Devine passed away, it was on the front page of the Plain Dealer. He was such a legacy in this community.
Isn't that amazing?
That his obituary was on the front page of the Plain Dealer.
And when he started, no one even knew what FM was really.
That's correct.
I just pulled up the Akron Beacon Journal, and there's a whole article about his death in the journal.
And so if you're new to the station, we call this the Bob Devine Studios in his honor for a lot of obvious reasons. But that just kind of helps explain what a treat it was for Wanda to stop by, who's in her late 80s, I would imagine.
Yeah.
She seems like she's in her 40s, Wanda, if you're listening. But
Right.
age-wise, not. You were going to say something, Ron.
An example of how spunky she is.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote back to me one time and said, sorry, I'm late in responding, but I had to go to the ER the other night. I was cutting my shrubs and one, snapped back and knocked me over. And so I had to have my daughter come pick me up and take me. But I'm thinking, I don't even want to get in and cut shrubs. And I'm, a good 10 at least years younger than her. She's out there just working away. She's tough.
And so faithful. How many years did her and Bob? I mean, they had to develop close relationships with people at the Cleveland Natural History Museum. They would go and spend hours at the library researching for Nature Corner. And just the dedication and ministry in this community is so incredible that, again, what a treat that you all got to meet her.
She told us one time when she came in, she and Bob, when they were newlyweds, had written to a number of ministries. They'd prayed and kind of narrowed a list down. They had like 5 ministries that they wanted to work for. So they said, Lord, whichever one responds first, we'll trust that that's your leading. And they sent the letters out. And they waited and finally got response from Moody. I believe first it was in Chicago where they started. And so they took that as the Lord's will and started working there. And a while later, they got like follow-up letters from some other ministries that had tried to get back a hold of them and said, well, we mailed to you right away and we haven't heard back. But the Lord circumvented those letters into lost letter department or something because he wanted them here and he made sure it happened.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
So we are so grateful. Yes, ma'am. What do you?
If you would like to listen to Nature Corner, you can still find it on moodyaudio.com.
That is correct. Yeah, the whole archive is there. Yeah, we'll be glad to connect you.
Sailor Sam's there too.
Ranger Bill?
I'm not sure.
I think he is.
Yeah, I'd have to search, but I know for sure Sailor Sam, Nature Corner is there.
So what a legacy he has here. Yeah. Sorry.
No, check it out at moodyaudio.com or just text us and we can send you the link.
So she's doing well. Praise the Lord for that. Wanda, if you're listening, we're so grateful for you and all that you've meant to this community for so many years. And if I'm going to put the right punctuation mark on this, when Bob was here for 40 years, your grandparents or maybe you are the ones who financially supported this radio station. Wanda still loves us and supports us. Do you? Would you consider a gift for our Share campaign? It's people just like you that keep us going on a daily basis. In fact, Linda just gave.
She said, good morning. I love the morning show and have been listening since the 80s. Thank you for being the love and hope in the world. And I loved Bob Devine and Ranger Bill. Bob read a poem called Go Down Death that was so fitting when my grandmother passed. Thank you for continuing the legacy.
We are just trying to, is what we're doing here, because we're so grateful for him and what Mark and Gary did for so many years, 15 years here on this radio station. But yeah, would you consider a gift? It's people like you that will keep this radio station going, like the folks who launched it all those years ago in 1958, and who donated faithfully every year as Bob and Wanda were doing their ministry here at WCRF for so many years. Would you pick up the torch, a gift of any amount, a larger amount if you're so willing? Just text SHARE to 440-546-2255. Text SHARE to 440-546-2255. You could also call 800-600-9699.
Start that over.
Hi, I'm Brian. This is Moody Radio. You could call 800-600-9624.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-659-9838. That's 1-800-659-9838.
As Christians, we need to really understand how truly revolutionary the message of Jesus was. Jewish believers worshiped God one way, and now Jesus had a radically new and different way. The book of Hebrews was written to answer their concerns. This month's Today in the Word devotional provides a renewed understanding and appreciation for the book of Hebrews. Download the free Today in the Word app or get a daily email in your inbox. Sign up at todayintheword.com.
Helping you take the next step in your walk with Jesus. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Oh, this is the perfect segue. Listen to that. 848 WCRF, Mornings with Brian. It's Follow-Up Friday. We've had Pastor Scott Lessing with us from Grace Church and their prison campus at Lorraine Correctional. Hello to all the men and staff listening from there. Love to have you guys with us. We'll have to come back out and hang out one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Someone needs to lobby the state of Ohio to change the law so we can do a live broadcast out there.
That would be amazing. Other states, you're allowed to do that.
Correct. In
But
Ohio,
not in Ohio.
you are not.
Not yet.
So maybe we have attorneys generals or mayors, or I don't know who it's going to take, but somebody's got to change that rule. We just want to broadcast from there. What's the big deal?
Right. Why not?
We'll follow the rules.
Right.
Come on. So work on that. Otherwise, for now, we'll just have to come visit off the air again one of these days. Did you hear that music? That like.
Yep.
Yeah.
We talked this week about there's a brand new pop-up Christian nightclub in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they've got there's a couple of rules. No twerking. If you don't know, ask. I'm not going to explain it. No smoking, no drinking. But there's a lot of dancing, and it's Christian music. It's like Christian hip hop and probably Christian club music. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I don't even know if I said it right. I'm hoping you would know. Is it club
Christian
music?
club
I don't know.
music.
Is that right, Daria?
Maybe some dubstep.
Dubstep. Yeah, maybe. Techno.
They have lo-fi Christian, so I'm sure they have
You do?
Christian hip hop or Christian, what'd you call it?
Club?
Club music. Yeah.
House music.
House music. I'm sure there is.
The way you just looked at me, you think you don't have looks on your face. That was like I feel sorry for you that you said that.
It's okay.
I don't know what it's called, but it's popping up. It's super popular, but there's people mad about it. Like, how Christian nightclub? What are you doing? Would you go to a Christian nightclub? Well, actually, you're too old. They wouldn't let you in.
Why do you think they're upset?
Some people are mad that Christians dance. I don't know what that's about. That's an old. It's like we're living in the movie Footloose again. And John Lithgow is going to the town council and telling, and I'm Kevin Bacon. There's dancing in the Bible. Let us dance.
What you did like?
I do. It's like one of my moves.
Chicken arms.
Is that one of your? Is that how you dance?
No, Pastor. I'm a good dancer. You'll just never know because I don't.
I was at a wedding where the bride was not allowed to dance with her father because next thing you knew that everyone would be twerking. So bride could not dance to Stephen Curtis Chapman's Cinderella at her own wedding.
Are you being for real?
I was at this wedding.
Wow.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So
I totally believe there are people that have problems with this and dancing in general.
Oh yeah.
But that's not something they covered in seminary? Like why? Like the theological argument against dancing?
No, that was never brought up.
Because I feel like legit there is. Or cards?
Yeah, or dominoes or anything like that.
You can't do any of that, can you?
Like games. They don't have any fun.
That like when you watch Footloose, like that's reality. But when you watch that, it's like the pastor's job was to make sure nobody had fun.
Right.
And we don't want to exude that. Christians can have fun.
Right. Of course we can.
I know a guy whose father is a relatively well-known pastor, and at his wedding, his family sat outside of the reception because they didn't even want people to think that they were dancing inside the reception.
Wow.
So they missed the party. Like, have you ever had to teach anybody? This sounds weird, but Pastor, how do I dance and be holy?
No, I've never taught anybody that. No.
It's not a thing?
No, well, it might be a thing, but I have not made it a thing.
I don't think there's a solid biblical argument for not dancing. Is there?
If there is, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, dancing in and of itself, no. But there are things that are done on the dance floor that are a little more than just dancing.
But I feel like you should know that if you're following Jesus.
Right. It should be obvious. You know, Studio 54 had a lot of differences from a church service.
Gen Z, Studio 54 was a bad, naughty place.
Oh, thanks. I didn't
In
know
the
that.
disco
You
era.
didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Wow.
In the what
I'm
era?
Showing my age.
Isn't it-
Disco.
Yeah, the disco
era.
70s,
You knew that?
75,
Yes.
76.
But you're not from the disco
Brian
era.
loves boomer. What did you call it?
Boomer trivia.
Trivia. Thank you.
I'm quite good at it.
Yeah.
It's
I see
but
that.
it was in New York, I believe. It was New York
Yeah.
City, and it was a very well-known club that was basically just debauchery and disco,
Yeah.
both D's.
Yeah.
And and Christians shouldn't be doing that, but I think why not have a big Christian worship party where everybody's dancing and having a great time?
Yeah. I don't think there's a problem with that.
We did talk about how we were afraid that churches would take that idea and ruin it. Because
How would they ruin it?
let's just picture you, Pastor Scott, youth pastor, and you're how old again?
Yeah, I'm 50.
Like nobody wants a 50-year-old to start a dance party.
No, not at all.
Can you imagine if you went to the youth group? Hey kids, it's me, Pastor Scott. Look, I've got some dubstep.
Some dubs.
Turn it up. Wave your hands in the air like you don't care. Come on, kids. But this is what we do, though,
Oh
right?
my
We
gosh.
try to do stuff like that.
Brian, you make me laugh when you. There's two things that really make me laugh.
Okay, do tell.
When you do your British accent, because you it's the body language that comes with it. Like that's what makes it.
That's why
fun.
I got to watch the live stream, by the way.
And how frustrated your coworkers get when you do it. Like that, it's the whole thing. It's not just the British. But then when you try to do this lingo, and I think that you're having fun with it, but there's a part of me that thinks that you're really trying to be cool.
I think you may have characterized that. I long for the days when I knew what was happening, with all the kids, and I could fit in. Because, we did an article years ago. We talked about this one where it talked about your mental age is usually about 20 to 30 years below what your actual age is. Unless you're a little kid, obviously. But how old do you feel?
How old do you feel?
Well, take out any physical feelings.
Yeah.
Because I get sore mowing the lawn. Okay. But in my head, I still feel like I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that long ago that I was in high school.
You act young, in a nice way. Yeah.
Well, Daria, why are you averting your eyes? Did you hear that?
I'm reading a text that we just got.
Lauren, he said I act young.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
Yeah.
No.
Is childish young?
If that's young, Ron and I are 14.
Yeah. Right on.
Aren't most men?
Yep.
Yes, that is correct.
And,
Yeah.
and every man is the heart of a 14-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. Yes, thank you. But yeah, I still wish I was a little cool. But I lean into it. When I get to pick up the kids at school, I roll down the window.
Oh yeah.
When they start walking towards the car, honk, and yell out, "It's me, Dad! I'm right here! I'm your dad! Hey, buddy!" Do you ever do that to your kids?
Oh, for sure. I still love to mess with my kids.
Isn't that great?
It's so much fun.
And now these two are probably "Don't do that to your kids." Lauren, you're probably "Don't do that. It's mean. You're going to hurt their feelings and ruin their childhood."
No, that's fine.
You got to have a little fun as a
Yeah.
parent, right?
It's
Yeah.
okay.
think it's
The
fine.
young people think it's cool.
Yeah.
I would
They
have
think
hated
you're
it,
cool.
but now I think it's funny.
Oh, you're getting old. Look at you.
I am.
Embarrassing kids is a little fun.
It's a lot fun.
Not serious embarrassment, just
Yeah, don't exasperate your kids.
yeah, please don't provoke them to anger, but Make sure they know where you are in the parking lot.
They can roll their eyes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lauren rolls her eyes all morning. Surprised she's not sore.
Are you ready? It's almost time. Oh, he's coming back, y'all, like a thief in the night. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, now it may be morning, night or noon. I don't know, but it's gonna be soon. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And when we all get to heaven, that's the day when we'll be shouting. Oh, that's the day when that we're gonna be so glad. Oh, we were ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Listen, do you know him as your King, Lord and Savior of everything? Are you ready? 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 When we all get up to heaven, that's the day when we'll all be shouting, 'cause we'll be so glad, oh, so glad we were ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? I can't wait for that day. No more trouble, it's all gone away. I can't wait to see my Savior's face. Are you ready? Are you ready? Would your soul be lost if he came back today? Oh, got my bags all ready, 'cause I don't wanna be on that day, I just wanna be ready on that day. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. And oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, when it cracks the sky. Oh, will we meet in the great dark? I like that.
That just about does it. Special thanks to Pastor Scott Lessing
Thank
for
you guys.
today.
I love being here. You guys are awesome.
If folks want to learn more about what you're doing, how do they do it?
GraceCMA.org, and you'll see prison campus all over the place there.
GraceCMA.org.
Yes.
Awesome. Be sure to tune in Monday. Top of the morning, actually, to ya.
Ah.
Well, just the looks on her face are worth the cost of admission every day.
It's the body language and the back and forth.
Top
I
of the
love
morning
it.
to ya. We're going to have a whole discussion of St. Patrick.
Yeah. You had one yesterday.
Yeah, the real guy. It's going to be great. And we're also going to thank Eric for giving.
Yeah, Eric gave $50 to share. Thanks, Eric.
You said to do 3 things, and that was 2.
I said also the Farinis will be here.
The Farinis are going to be here.
Oh, Scott, do you want a job?
And share.
The Farinis are going to be here on Monday as well. And Cher's coming up.